mayor. So thank you for everybody that's coming, and thank you for everybody that's watching online. How about that Crown Point High School boys basketball team? Semi-state champs. Very exciting game. So we're going on for the first time the state championship next Saturday in Indianapolis. So congratulations. And then just to further expand on our high school kids, the speech and debate team. Some of the kids are going down to nationals, going down south for that. And then did you know we have a robotics team? These super smart kids. Some of them made it to the world championships so great all around for high school and our kids. So congratulations, everybody. Anybody attend the St. Patrick's Day, the winter parade that we had? I'm here to tell you, you did? God bless you, sir. That was it. I know. I'm sorry if it's echoey, so I'll get to where we're at in a minute, but it was the coldest parade. I've been to all 18 of them. This was our 18th year. Can you believe that? And I think staff was talking about this was even colder than the New Year's Eve ball drop. But to the hardy souls that came out, thank you. I had a great time. I did step in a couple of businesses. I was looking for somebody right before the parade, and the businesses were really crowded. So I think what people did, and truth be told, I would probably have done the same thing, stayed in the restaurants until the parade started, and they came out. So, but it was a fun family event. I love to see the kids out there with all the excitement. So, all right, so we are in, of course, our historic courthouse. I absolutely love this building. This particular room for many, many years was the Crown Point City Court. Perhaps some of you had reason to appear in the Crown Point City Court, no judgment. I testified here many times in my police department career for traffic courts and so forth. So this was actually the first time that since they renovated this room, I've seen it. I knew I had a Mondays with the Mayor here last year in the building, and I heard that they renovated this room, and I really wanted to get inside to see it. So I said, let's see if we can host a Mondays with the Mayor in this room. I was telling some of the foundation members, I think it looks fantastic. I love the floor, how they did it. If you remember, before it was like a slope floor with the fold-down wooden seats. I love the fact that they kept the court bench and the old jury box. So, and of course, everything else is historic. So I think they did a very good job with this room. It looks fantastic. Okay, so, why don't we throw it out to the people from the Courthouse Foundation who are behind all this. I know they shared some information with you, which very appreciative of what's been going on with the foundation and so forth, some of the projects they have done and maybe have plans for. Anybody want to come up and talk on behalf of the Courthouse Foundation? That's a hard no. No, you don't have to. I can talk for you. Okay. Yeah, so if you haven't got, I know there's still some extras, so they handed out kind of just a synopsis of what's been going on. Obviously, this building is old, as we all know it. Well, what comes with an old, large building is a never-ending to-do list of projects. And these are projects that are not cheap, but they have to be done. And so the foundation board members, they don't get paid. It's not like they're doing it for money. They're doing it for just the love of the community, the love of this building. So I give them credit for putting their time and effort trying to save and keep something for all of us. This is really, no matter what we have in Crown Point, the square in this building is really the bread and butter of our community, so with its history. So if you have any questions, whether they're now or after, we do have personnel from the foundation. Yes, ma'am. Hey, Dave, can you come up here? Because there might be people, and after you get done, I'll chime in, but there might be some people. So the question was, for many years, the Lake County Historical Museum was inside the building. Why is it no longer in the building? Right? Okay.
Courthouse Foundation is in charge of maintaining this building. So it really wasn't our mission to run a museum. They were here for 40-some years, and we subsidized them. They never paid rent or paid utilities or cleaning or anything like that. So we just asked them to either join us and be part of this foundation or reduce their space, and they chose to leave. Yeah, they really don't have funds to pay rent or even utilities. We gave them a lease to pay $1 a year and pay some basic utilities, and they couldn't do that. So they're looking for a new home now. Hopefully they'll find one.
All right. Thank you, Dave.
Anybody else?
So just to add to Dave's answer, that's a great question. So last year, Mondays with the Mayor, I had it in the Historical Museum. I'm always have been a big fan. Some of the pieces that they have in there are, Crown Point history. That's one reason why I wanted to have that in there, because there were so many people, believe it or not, that drive by this building every day and either didn't know there was a museum in here, or they knew and they never been in it. So I'm like, let's have money there to try and get like the word out there. Yes, people, this museum does exist and it's really got some cool pieces. So as far as the city, I donate with the council's permission. I take money out of my budget at the mayor's office and donate to the museum. I just did it this year as well, helping them try and find a new home. It's something very important for the city and for all of us, but for future generations to know, be able to see something Crown Point history. So, but that was a very good question. And there was something I'd like to try and do, I'm still thinking about it, to help foster, people come from different communities to visit this building. We got great shops downstairs, upstairs. Etta Taylor's, God bless her, she's been in here for years and years and years, to help foster the public to get in here, right? To frequent the shops and see the history and so forth. So I'm trying to come up with, brainstorm with some of the city people on what we can do to do that. Because we all, like I said, we all drive by it how many times a week, but of that week, how many times do we come in here? So very few times. So we'll keep working on ideas to help try and get the community in here and so forth. But, okay, so as always, we have most of our Crown Point City Department staff here. So if you ask a question and I don't know the answer, we'll throw it to them so you don't have to wait for an answer. So thank you for the staff for coming. And I always like to, when we hire new emergency services people, police and fire, I always like to try and get them in here, sometimes begrudgingly, so they can introduce themselves and you can see where they're a little bit of their history and so forth. So today we have our two newest firefighters. Gentlemen, you want to come up? Look at that. Round of applause already. He's actually on shift, so I said, we'll get you in and out right in front. All right, buddy. Thank you for coming out. All right, so you want to tell the crowd and everybody's watching a little bit about you.
Absolutely. Good morning, everybody. My name is Zachary Rossetti. I'm the newest probationary firefighter EMT here at the City of Crown Point Fire Department. I did bring some prior fire EMS experience with me. I'm a Crown Point resident as well. I'm a graduate from the Indiana University East. I'm super excited to be here. It's a great department to be on, and super progressive, and we train really hard, and it's just been a great experience so far.
Any questions for him? All right.
Are they still hiring fire department people?
Yeah, so we're hiring part-time members. Chief, did you want to comment on that?
See, Chief knows. So did you hear the question? He was asking if the FD is still hiring firefighters.
Yeah, we're always hiring. We always have a hiring list ready to go because we never know if we're going to have the opportunity to expand for our budgets or somebody retires. We always have people that can retire at a moment's notice, so we always try to keep a hiring list and promotion list active.
Answer your question? All right. All right, man.
All right,
Nice
wonderful.
job.
Yeah,
All right.
thanks for
Thanks,
having me.
buddy.
Appreciate it.
Thanks. So next month, so we will add or try to have our police department here because we have a new police officer that we've hired, and then our newest police K-9 Dutch. We're going to have K-9 Dutch there as well, so they'll be next month. And not to leave the PD out, the police department is also accepting applications through March 27th. You don't have to be a police officer currently to apply. So if you're interested, check out the police department's social media site and get the information. But I believe it's through March 27th, right, Norm? Yeah. So that's our emergency services. A little biased, I know, but by far the best set of emergency services in the region. Okay, let's jump into the questions. Why does the city not charge connection fees when a new house is built? So this maybe sound like an odd question. I don't think it is. I think it's a great question. One, I contacted this gentleman back, and there was a group of neighbors in the subdivision. And one of the neighbors was saying, it's a newer subdivision, that the city actually doesn't charge any connection fees. And they were upset because they got charged. This is when you build a new house. And I said, no, that's not true. I don't know why. But anyway, so yes, so if you build a new house, there are certain connection fees the city charges you, which means for you to tap into the city water system, the city wastewater system, there's fees that, to do that. And it's usually just rolled into the cost of your house. So for the water connection, it's a total of about $3,000. So for you to tap into our water system. So our wastewater system totals about $5,700 to tap into our sewer system. So people, well, can't you just make them higher? And these are for homes. Now, if it's a big business that have big connections or multiple connections, most homes just have one, that's charges for each connection. And the bigger the pipe, the bigger connection, the higher the fee. So Crown Point has always had that, and then the question is, well, what do we use the money for? So we use the money a lot for a lot of different purposes, for maintenance costs and so forth. We use a lot to pay salaries, because why do we do that? Because then that keeps our general fund dollars down, which means the less general fund dollars, which is what your when you pay property taxes, that goes for primarily salaries and so forth, and benefits for the employees. So we use that money to help offset that, to keep the general fund dollars down, so our taxes are always as low as they can go. But that was a very good question. So I ended up just going out to the neighborhood. I'm like, get the neighbors together. I'll talk to them all at once. It's just a lot easier. So they understood, okay, yes, that whatever reason this person was spreading misinformation. So that's, if you're thinking about building a house, that's the current connection fees for that, to tap into both utilities. This one, I think, we were at Jill Sosimo's and a gentleman asked it. And then there's some misinformation out there. I read online that Crown Point is getting a data center. Is this true? That is not true. There's zero truth to that. And when I say I haven't had a conversation, I haven't had a text with anybody, we want to build a data center in the city of Crown Point, that is the truth. I've had no conversations with, so I know there's nothing I can do to do that other than keep saying probably every month. That's not any conversations on that. I know it's a hot topic, as it should be. There's a lot of feelings on both sides, along with NIPSCO and so forth, but so it's important that I get the word out to the community that no, I haven't had any conversations with any data center people. And then this one was, I get this a lot, any updates on the Graves building? So the old Graves Auto Supply. And when I speak with the Graves family, they know there's such a huge public interest in, because of the historical nature of that building. So I spoke with the Graves family last week. They had a structural engineer through their insurance company come out. They did their assessment. The insurance company's waiting on the instructional engineer report to make a determination what to do with that building. My sense is, I'm not a structural engineer, is that the building's not going to be salvageable. There's a lot of issues with it. It's besides its age. So we're waiting on the report from that and what the family and the insurance company is going to do. So we realize we still have the sidewalk blocked off there because of the south wall is bowing. So we just felt, just out of caution, I don't want that public sidewalk open until they get that issue resolved. So other than that, but I talk to them, the family regularly. They know as soon as they hear anything beyond that to let me know, so then I can share it, one, with the community, and two, so the city and our legal department knows exactly what the status of everything is. So, but those are always good questions. If you're on social media, I know a lot of people aren't. I had started a social media segment on the city's website or the city's social media page called To The Point with Mayor Pete, and that's just as different things pop up. I'll just chime in or make a post on, and I try and keep it short. I know I'm horrible with that because the posts can only be so long. Just what's going on in the community and so forth. So my latest one, the one before was about city budget and so forth. The one I just released was all about our quality of life amenities, what they are, why they're important to the city, how they help the city, how they help our local economy, our businesses, and why it's important on that respect that we have modern facilities, and for all of us, right? We want, and the community deserves, to have the best modern quality of life amenities that you may not use them, right? You may not, I've never been on a bike trail or walking trail. I know we haven't, but it's just not my thing. That's okay, but there are tons of people that do. So everybody likes something different. I always say that. You always hear me say that. So we try to do our best to have everything covered for, if you do want to use it, it's there for you. So it was basically the post is about that. If you're not on social media and you ever want to know more about these, hit me up, and I will definitely talk in person about To The Point with Mayor Pete, what that segment was all about. So I'm working on one now that hopefully we can get maybe the end of the week. I thought it would be interesting with all the talk of residential development, single-family homes. So I went back 25 years, dug through the archives of the city records. How many homes have we built? Have we followed the national trend? Are there peak years? Are there slowdown years? What's the statistics show? So I thought, that's interesting to me. I'm going to do a segment on this. So I'll go back 25 years, and I'll release over all 25 years, break it down by years and maybe 5-year groups. How many homes has the city built? So I found it interesting. There wasn't anything in there that surprised me, but I thought I'd share that with the community too. So that'll be, hopefully, I'm finishing it up, hopefully posted into this week, early next week. And then again, if you read it and you have questions, hit me up. Happy to follow up any questions for you. Okay, our spotlight department of the month. So we have about 240-ish Crown Point employees, and that doesn't include all the part-timers, all the summer help that we hire, and we have an HR, human resources staff of 2. So, and for many, many years, it was a staff of 1. Karen has always been that staff of 1, God bless her. So Karen is gonna come up and she is gonna talk about Crown Point Human Resources. And if you have any questions about employment or any questions related to what Karen talks about, she's here to ask. All right, Karen.
Very good.
Karen Marvin, ladies and gentlemen.
We'll see if you applaud afterwards. All right. I just want to say, where's a dog when you need one? Because police and fire always have the cute puppies up here, and I have nothing. So I wish I had one. But like Pete had said, I've been with Human Resources since 2008. For a long time, till 2023, it was just me. Katie Uran came in November of 2023. She handles the benefits. Together we handle everything else. Basically, we both have titles. I'm director, she's benefits, but we kind of go back and forth on a lot of things. Our main goal basically is we want to make this the best work experience for all of our employees. That's our main goal. We want this to be the best work experience that they'll ever have in their lives. And during orientation, I used to say, because we have a very, very open door policy, you can't imagine the employees that walk in a day. They don't have to call, they can just come in. We get a lot of phone calls, but the physical presence is a lot, and we enjoy that. We know every employee by name, basically. We know their spouse, we know their kids. It's a personal experience for them. And during orientation, I used to say, if you ever need anything, call mom. But over the years, I have to say, call grandma. So that's how it's been. So I like to say we have very, very competitive wages. With the help of the mayor and the council, we've kept our wages very competitive. As Pete had said, we've got a call out for police officers till March 27th. Norms here, I can't attest, but I would say we've got into the vicinity of about 80 applicants so far. And we'll probably reach 100, 125 applicants alone. And these are qualified people. These are people from other departments, other cities and towns. They want to come to Crown Point. We've got great benefits. We've got a great department. So it's kudos to the city of Crown Point and our police department and all our departments that people want to come here and work. It's a great, great community. And I'll get on our benefits. I know this is probably a little bit boring to you, but we're proud of our benefits. We developed a free clinic for our employees about 2009. We developed a health savings account. And health savings accounts, we have a high deductible. So then we found out people don't want to use their health savings account monies. So we developed a free clinic for the people to come to the free clinic. And that was a huge growing process. We had a little clinic with just a nurse practitioner. Due to her own illnesses, she decided to close her clinic. So I went to Franciscan Alliance and they said, yeah, we can develop a little clinic. And they put it in St. Clair's off of the 9-mile stretch. And that developed into Healthy Access. And Healthy Access has grown into over 15 clinics throughout the state of Indiana. And we're just very proud that we started that. We were very instrumental in the start of Healthy Access. And that's a one-stop shop. Our employees, they can come to work and they say, oh, you know, my throat hurts. They can go over to the clinic. They can get a strep test. They can get their medicine and they're back to work. And that's very important, and it's no cost to them. And since we were instrumental in starting this Healthy Access Clinic, we have it for a very minimal cost. So we also have an EAP program. That's an employee assistance program. That's for mental health. More and more, as we find out through things that happen in our world, people are under a lot of stress anymore, and that's very, very important. We offer our employees 3 457 plans, and the city puts a $250 match into those plans. What's great is we still offer, and a lot of municipalities don't, we have the INPRS, that's the Indiana Public Retirement System. We have the civil side, and then we have the police and fire, which is called the 77 pension plan. And that's why a lot of people want to be government employees. Not a lot of employers often offer an actual pension anymore, and those are great to have. We offer AFLEC, that's a choice, that's just a choice of the employees, they pay for that. But we have short-term, long-term disability. Our short-term disability, our employees for the first 45 days that they have an illness, they get their full pay. So that just about covers any minor incident. Days 46 to 90 days, they get half their pay. But what we have is they can either come to half days because they're getting half their pay, or they can supplement it with PTO or comp time. But as an executive order from a mayor, they can also, we can donate PTO to these people. We have incidences where we've had sick children and other employees donate their own time to other employees. This is a family here. We had a firefighter, his son was very ill when he was born, and he was on national television. And he said within 24 hours, he had over 400 hours of PTO donated to him so he could be with his critically ill son in the hospital. I call that a family. I don't call that employment. We also have life insurance, and every employee has a $50,000 policy. A spouse has $25,000, and a child has $5,000. These are, and we pay the premium. So we treat our employees very well. You see why other employees from other municipalities want to come here. I don't think you can beat our health insurance, our dental, and our vision. I won't go into that. I'd be here an hour, so I don't want to bore everybody. But workers' comp is an executive order in January 2008, and Pete has upheld this. All workers' comp are paid 100% of their pay when they're off. We don't want it to be a burden. If you get hurt working for the city, you're paid your wages. We don't want that to be a burden if you get hurt working for us. We like to keep our employees informed of all their benefits and major issues. We offer 4 lunch and learns for the city employees. These are not mandatory meetings, and like Pete said, we have about 240 plus employees. Each lunch and learn, we have 2 sessions. We get over 100 employees at each session. That's 200 employees. But we do offer them lunch, so we always have the saying, if we feed them, they will come. So I think it has a lot to do with the food. Like human resources, we have a great department heads. We are involved in all the hiring processes, but a lot of the department heads have taken the realm on this because we can't be everywhere at all times. Like Pete said, I used to be a department of 1 for many years. Police and fire have developed hiring lists, which are awesome because a lot of times we'll need emergency hires. But I have a little paraphrase from the book Good to Great that I read over 25 years ago, but it says, trying to get the right people on the bus is important, but then trying to get the right people in the right seats on the bus is very important. Our day-to-day operations keep us very busy. Like I was saying, we do have open door policy. We have people walking in on a Monday morning. It just seems like a lot of things on the weekend people think of, or they'll have a bill or something that they got over the weekend. So that keeps us busy, but I always say it's a good busy because we like to see the people come and visit us. I do have my yearly report. I have reports of how many people go to our clinics. I have our health insurance reports. We have kept our health insurance down due to our free clinic. People say, well, does the Healthy Access Clinic more than pays for itself? I believe it's around $85,000 a year. And I would say it saves us a $500,000 a year with the labs, free medication, just the office visits itself. So it's a great balance for that. Because our TPA, who pays our claims, says, how do you keep your claims and your medication and all that so low? And then we say, well, it's our free clinic. So if anybody needs to see anything, I have all those reports. But I want to thank you for your time. I hope I didn't bore you too bad.
Good HR stuff. Wait, anybody have any questions for Karen, HR line? All right, well done. Thank you, Karen. So she said, we ask as a city a lot of our employees. We put a lot on them. Besides their daily tasks, we ask for a lot of extra stuff. So it's only right then, and they come through, right? So they come through the city, they come through for the residents. So it's only right that we look for ways to make sure that we take care of them as they're taking care of us. So it really is a good place to work. Again, I'm biased. Spent a lot of time, my entire adult life working for the city. So wouldn't want to work anywhere else. So very blessed. Great job, Karen. Thank you. Okay, so let's move on to my usual 3 topics. We'll start with development. So there's one that I wanted to, if you keep track or you follow this stuff, I find it interesting that there was action that the council takes. Almost everything the city does the final say is the city council, right? So there's, even me, I mean, most things people think, well, the mayor can just decide all that. No, I can offer input and opinions, but for the most part, the city council is the decision maker. And we got a great council. So there was some action in the past couple of meetings related to a proposed development. It's called Capstone. Anybody hear of that? So it was a parcel that the city council back then annexed in 2022. It's the one on 33rd, south of 133rd in the 9 Mile. Nothing was done with it. Well, now whoever bought it, Capstone, wants to look to develop it into some higher end homes. So there's a process. So anytime a property gets annexed into the city, no matter where it's at or what the hopeful use, it gets annexed into the same zoning classification, which is called R1A. So the city has different business zoning, residential zoning, business park. So it was brought in R1A. So part of R1A determines the size of that lot. So you have to have a 100-foot wide lot and 15,000 square feet, because it's not just the width of the lot, it's the total size of the lot. So more times than not, and 100-foot lots, we have them, but they're pretty rare. They're more estate homes, the bigger homes. So most times the developer will come in to the planning commission and say, hey, we would like to get a zone change to R1, which is 80-foot lots, or R2, which is also 80-foot lots and about 7,500 square feet of the total parcel. So that's usually how it's done. And that's what happened in this case. So they went to the planning commission, that's the governing body, and they said, hey, we're asking for zone change. We're still developing what we're gonna do, but this is kind of the mindset of what we're looking for. Single family homes, and then there was gonna be one section, and they call it seniors. It's 55 and older. I'm 60, so I don't see myself as that. I wish they'd come up with a different name, but that's what they call it. And they wanted just that section to have smaller lots, like 50-foot lots. And the planning commission's like, well, hold the phone. We're not really comfortable with that. Let's talk about this more. And then they started talking about parks and in the neighborhood and amenities, walking trails, which I like. I actually side with the planning commission on that. So, but the issue before the planning commission was that stuff comes all later when you get into the nuts and bolts. What are you going to build? And then the city boards and the planning commission dictate what you can build and what you can't. So the only issue before the planning commission was, are you going to rezone it to R2, the 80-foot lots? Which if you thinking of a subdivision that has all 80-foot lots, the one that comes to mind for me is Copper Creek. If you know that subdivision, those are all 80-foot wide lots. So the planning commission didn't like the 50-foot thing. I can't say I don't blame them. So they said, we're going to give up what we call an unfavorable recommendation to the council. Because all the boards, they just give a recommendation to the council, favorable or unfavorable. The council decides what they want to do. So in between the planning commission and the council meeting, the petitioner did what the petitioner should do and say, we need to rethink this because the city's not in favor of what we're pitching. And they did. So what they told at the council meeting was, we're done with the 50-foot lots. We understood what the city wants and what the city does not want. We're going to change it, and which is what they should do. They should listen to the city, what the city wants. So they did. And so then the council said, okay, since you are changing it, we'll grant the rezone for 80-foot lots. Now, if they want to go, so that was what was approved at the council meeting. If they want to go to 60-foot lots or something below 80, they can't just do it. Now they have to go to the BZA and get their permission. The BZA could say, okay, for that little section, we're okay with that. Or the BZA could say, nope, we want 80. But it's the BZA's decision on what to do from there. So that was a little bit, I know I went through it quick, and if you're not interested, but it's to me, it's interesting, the different zonings and classification and what it is and what it means. But it's the planning commission, the council, the BZA, all working together and being like-minded and on the same page. This board wants one thing, so the council, instead the council could say, well, that's tough, we're gonna do something else, but they don't. They listen to the planning commission. All right, yeah, we agree with our fellow board members. And so they took action to ultimately approve it. Now, does that mean things are going to get built tomorrow? No, this is like a 12-year project. The market will determine eventually how this is built, but this is a decade-out project. But I thought it would be interesting to, because it was in the paper a lot, explain exactly what that process is, what is R1A, what's R2, lot sizes, and so forth. So that's what, in a very quick snippet of a nutshell, that's what that issue was. Does anybody have any questions on that? If you don't think of a question now and you think of it later, or you go back and read what was in the printed media, and then you have a question about it, definitely hit me up, and I'm happy to discuss anything about it. So we'll see what comes next with this development, but that would be their next step, is they would have to go before the BZA board. And there was, and I know I've shared this with you, and in fact I just said it, because on the BZA and Planning Commission, the board members are made up of council members and then some of my appointments. Now, the council can appoint anybody. It doesn't have to be a council person. It's just a council appointment. I like the fact that our council appoints council members to fill their seats. One, because they should be involved in every step of the process of anything the city does. And then when an issue comes to the council meeting, we have fellow council members that are been in this conversation, offer input, and they can share and fill in the other council members' firsthand knowledge of it. So I like it. I never, ever, ever tell my appointments, this is what you're going to vote on. This is what you're going to think. That would be, I like my appointments. They cover Crown Point, both parties. I love it. They should be reflective of the community. You've heard me talk about that before. They vote because they all bring different mindsets, different life experiences, their visions for the city, and I love that fact. So I think they all work well together. All right, so any questions on that? I just want to make sure I didn't. Okay. Infrastructure, so does anybody live here in the Edgewater subdivision off 113th? So you heard me talk about this the last few meetings. There's a culvert, it's the old railroad bed going back in the backside of Edgewater, and which has the waterway in it. Culvert's failing, so we fixed it a couple years ago. Edgewater, the subdivision, was underwater when it failed. I mean, it flooded horribly. So we applied for the engineering, got a grant from the Little Cow River Basin, so they're going to pay 60% of that project. The total project cost, the low bidder was $298,000. And so the grant's going to pay $179,000, and the city's going to have to pay $119,000. Now, we knew this project was coming, so like most projects, we set money aside to pay it in full, but so it's a bonus that now Little Cal's going to pick up 60%. So you're going to start, if you live out that way, you're going to start seeing the culvert being worked done and replaced. Once it's done, hopefully by this fall, that's going to be where our next segment of our bike and walking trail will go. It'll literally go over that culvert. It'll follow the old railroad bed underneath I-65 and connect to 109. So we got to get the culvert done first. So that was just approved at the last Board of Works meeting. You've heard me talk about this. Actually, I started talking about these infrastructure projects back in 2023. So I apologize if I keep repeating myself, but it's important we get the word out. Our downtown interceptor project, which has started, is on Lewis Street, which is where the American Legion is at. They're almost done with that segment. It goes underneath, about 30 feet underneath Main Street to connect to our current wastewater plant. And that is going to run along through Liberty Park and where that Summit and West Street at the kind of horrible intersection right there. It's going to come across there. And if you remember, the downtown interceptor is basically putting in the middle of the road, about 30 foot deep, a 4-foot pipe for this whole stretch, and then all these undersized pipes from businesses and homes in the middle part of town will all feed into that. And that will alleviate all of the flooding, all of and we're a CSO, combined sewer communities. There's about 100 of us around the state. So this will alleviate all that. It really will be able to help us control the flow into our wastewater plant. So you're going to see that project continue. If you drive down 231 and it's closed right by Harrington, that's part of this project. We started it in 2 different locations. 1, it knocks about a year off the project, and 2, it saves us about $1 million if we do it starting at 2 different locations. So if you're at both locations. And it'll eventually run down Harrington to South Street, and east on South Street, kind of where St. Mary's, the backside of St. Mary's Church is at. So that's not going away anytime soon, but it's something that's critically important. Actually, that was first talked about conceptually along with the plant back in 2007. Now, I don't know how, if we were all here in 2007, that's going back a ways. Under Mayor Klein, so the state, God bless them, sometimes tells communities, hey, you're going to complete this project, and you're going to do it in this amount of time, and we call them unfunded projects because they don't give you any money for it. They're like, figure it out, but just get it done. And it's all for the greater good. I totally understand that. But that's how long these projects have been in the discussion stage, going back to 2007, Mayor Klein. So it's the two mayors, I don't know how many different council members, a lot, but all of them knew the importance of these projects. So it really shows how important they are to the community. We may not like them. We may not think, well, wait a minute. These just all came about in the last few years. And I actually understand that, because I can't say I'd go to every council meeting if I wasn't the mayor or the police chief, that I went to all of them. But it's really been going on that long, all this planning, and that's how long it takes to get all this stuff done. So we're at the point now, we got to get it done. And one thing, and I rarely bring up, if ever, I can't say never, is like politics in Crown Point. Because you've heard me say a million times, it really doesn't matter in this city. And that's one of the things I love about the city. Everybody works together, everybody communicates. I can't imagine working in a city that doesn't happen. Well, that's a good idea, but I can't support it because you don't think like me, or vice versa. That's, my mind, that's terrible thinking. It's what's good for the Crown, what's good for all of us. So think of all that. So different mayors, different council, and they all have voted unanimously to keep these projects moving forward. So I know they're a pain in the you-know-what. They're not cheap, but it's something that we have to do. One, to satisfy the state, but two, to protect. I mean, Crown Point's a $2.4 billion investment, and you guys would be pretty PO'd if the city didn't do their part to make sure your investment is protected as much as we can. So that's what we're trying to do. So that's it in a nutshell. The road paving season is upon us, almost. So one of the things that we've always done road projects, every year going back, I don't know how long. But the last few years, I've really tried to pick up and enhance the number and miles of roads that we either just repave over, but when we do it now, it's if they need curbs, if they need aprons, if they need sidewalks, we're doing it all at one shot. So while we're in there and get everything torn up, let's get it all done. So we really have tried to step up, and I'm planning on doing that this season. The state, God bless them, came up with quite a bit of money that they're going to add a little bit extra for communities for their road season. So we applied for funds from that. We'll know probably in May if we get that money. If it does, we're going to shoot for about 15 miles of road. That's a lot of miles of road. We did that a couple seasons ago. A lot of road closures, I know, but it's important that it's more investment, right? It's not money we're just throwing a party or something. It's money invested into our city. So we'll know more, hopefully by the next couple, maybe in the next Mondays with the mayor, I'll know if we got that grant money. So we have our money we set aside, so even if we don't get it, we still have our project list, this is what we're doing. But if we can get the state grant money, which I feel very confident that we are, we're gonna enhance it. We already have those roads planned, what we're gonna do with it all. So I'll keep you updated like I always do once we know where we're at with everything. I just got word the NIPSCO utility pole replacement, you've seen them, right? Okay, necessary, I get it. Poles, new lines. So they have 4 crews working around Crown Point. So I asked our engineering, do we have an update? What's going on with that status of that? They are going to be here probably through November. So they're not leaving Crown Point anytime soon. And it's not just our community, they're doing it all over. I'm hoping that maybe it's a little bit sooner than November. They were doing for, I don't know how long, well, they're still out in front of City Hall. So I always forget, that road's closed, that's right. But that's what that project is. AT&T, you see the utility work dug up in the easements, if they've been in your easements, that's AT&T. Surf Internet was out in Crown Point. We put a stop to them. We had some issues that through our Public Works, we want them to take care of before they do some more. But AT&T is the utility that's out digging up the easements right now. They have a right to do that, but if you have an issue with them, you contact, you know what, people have been filling out the report of concern on our website, and it goes right to myself, it goes to Public Works, fill that out because we want to know about it. We still have inspectors and they still have to follow the city rules. So if you have a problem with them, make sure you report it to the city, okay? Oh, yes, sir.
Will they re-landscape my yard?
They are supposed to re-landscape it and not just leave it in a pile of dirt. And now, will they put sod down? They're not going to put sod down, you know, the grass. They're going to put the straw mat and the grass seed. That is what they're going to do. But they can't just, okay, well, we're done, and then just leave it a total mess. So, I mean, for the most part, they're good, but problems do arise, and I don't like it when a homeowner sent me a picture this morning of what's the deal, what's going on with this? So Public Works was already over it, and I think they've already been out to that scene. Okay, amenities. It's been, well, we had like one day of niceness, right? It was in the 70s, remember that? It seemed like forever. Geez. We put by April 15th is when the Parks Department puts all the nets out for the pickleball courts, the tennis courts. We open up the bathrooms. It's hard to do it if we have just one nice day and then the next day it snows. So we will have them all up by April 15th. If the weather cooperates and we got a good stretch of good weather, the Parks Department will be out putting all the nets up and opening up the bathrooms. But I get a lot of questions, what's going on? When are you guys putting up the net? So I, for one, am hopeful we get a nice stretch of nice upper 60s and 70-degree weather. That'd be nice. And then we'll get those nets out. The fountain at Sowerman's Park will be installed tomorrow. We take it out during the winter and put that de-icing machine under the water. We're taking that out. The fountain will be up tomorrow. So if you see workers out there, that's what they're there for. The swans are fine. I get a lot of inquiries about our swans. They're like the rock stars of this community. We like for them to keep in the lake. They're just like checking things out, right? It's their home. So they were in the smaller pond behind the playground equipment there. And, you know, the community's credit, they were worried about them. They're fine. When they don't feel safe or they want to go back to the big lake, they'll make their way back. Yes, you have to come up here, though. That's the rule.
We feed them. We don't.
Yes.
It's really important for everybody. There's been some situations where people are feeding them. I don't know what they're feeding them, and that's our biggest concern. We are making sure they're pretty well cared for. You can see them. They walk around. They're living their best life. But it's really important that people do not feed them. Don't go up to them. They're going to stay away from you if you stay away from them. And please, please, please don't feed them. We know what they're supposed to eat, and we have exactly what they need, and they're fed well. So I just wanted to interject that while we have the opportunity, as people are going and using the park more and more, we do not want you to go and approach them or feed them in any way.
Good tip. So I know people just do it, one, because it's fun to do.
They're fun.
But it actually is the worst thing you can do for their health is feed them bread or whatever. So like Jenny said, we do feed them, so they're fine. They're there to look at, take a picture of. Don't chase them or anything like that. All right, good point, Jenny. And I'm not going to give it away, but there'll be more to come in the next series of weeks related to our Sowerman's Park. I'm just going to say that the city for this project has earned state and national recognition for this park. So in Indianapolis and Washington, D.C. I'll leave that as a teaser, more on that. Finally, our city welcome signs and our new park signs. Been talking about this for a year. We finally got them in. You know, the welcome signs, the 3 that we have at 93rd and west of town, and then coming in off the highway. They are finally in, and our park signs, some of them needed a little. We got our money was worth out of them, so we got new park signs. They are all in. Our city staff will actually be putting them up. So if we need to see any welcome signs, I apologize for the delay. I do not know what took so long, but nevertheless, we finally got them in. And it's not really amenities, but our street department superintendent wanted me So the crews are out now doing the brush pickup with all these windstorms. Holy smokes, it was windy all last night. A lot of branches down, so the crews are out doing the brush pickup. They're doing leaves when they can, but the leaf pickups will start back at full force in April. So if you have brush or leaves, put them out to the curb. If you know of a neighbor that has a leaf or brush pile pickup, please don't park in front of their pile because we can't get to them, right? So we're not going to try and damage a parked car. Just be courteous or mindful of your neighbors or yourselves. Don't park your car in front of the pickup. Okay, is Julie here from the library? No. Julie is not here from the library. Okay. Yes, ma'am. Of course, yeah, go ahead. All good.
Because this concerns a lot.
Okay.
Would you ever consider changing the rules for parking there for the 2 hours? And I say this because the libraries use a lot of the senior citizens for mahjong, for hand, foot, for shave, and most of those women that come, at least the women that come to mahjong, I would say out of the 40 we had last week, we have 8 that have walkers or canes. And to have a 2-hour delay, a 2-hour parking, they either have to park at the other parking lot and walk up, or they have to move their car after 2 hours, which I did one time, and I got a ticket because I moved it within the library parking. But it is penalizing those people using the library. And I know that the library makes or gets funding by the number of people that use it. Mm-hmm. So I really think it's penalizing beyond belief for those senior citizens.
You are 1,000% right. Next time you're at the library, we have something in place for that.
I'd love to hear it.
For the seniors and the regular groups, we actually have something in place. When you're at the library next time, see Julie or one of the library staff, and they'll get you all signed up and taken care of.
Oh, God, that's such a great...
Yes, because you're right. The spirit of it is because people use the library a lot and then they go...
Understand.
Right. So, but we don't want groups like yours to get caught up in that. So what we did is we worked with Julie, the library, and our police department to come up with a program that eliminates that.
Oh, that's going to make so many of those women that really want to come but are hardshiped, or they actually have to get a ride because they can't
Yeah, we don't want that.
park and walk them that distance.
We want everybody to come and use the library. It's a phenomenal resource.
Thank you so much. I'll speak with Julie when I go on Thursday.
Yep, and if you have any issues or questions, hit me up.
I know your number.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Great question, though. Great point. Okay. As always, I think I got a pretty challenging trivia question. I always say that, and then, oh, yes, sir. Yeah.
The roundabout on 113th and
Yes.
231.
Yep.
What's the status?
The status of that. So we met with the engineering firm last week. The design for the roundabout itself is done. Now, there's still a lot of work to do, the ancillary parts and utilities and all that stuff. But the roundabout design is done. The project right now, construction is still the spring of 2027. 27.
Oh.
Yeah. So there's still a ways to go, and that's a state project. And when you hear me talk a lot about, well, an NDOT project, that doesn't mean Crown Point doesn't have to pay anything. That just means the state is in charge of the project. Now, this project right now, it's an 80-20 split, so the state pays 80% of it. The city's expected to pay 20%. We did apply through NERC in Portage through a grant that would change that to the state would pay 90% and the city would pay 10%. So I'm hopeful that we get that grant. But even if it's 80-20, and the state is going to pay 20% all up front at one time. And then they take from it as they need it, what would be city costs. So we don't pay for all of it, certainly not, but it's not. And we plan for this, right? So we know, the state's been talking with us since before I was mayor. So we have money aside, so when that is finally due, we have money to pay the city's costs. So all the specifics and stuff, I'll be talking about more and more, but the engineering is done, yeah. Good question. Anybody know where he's talking about? Right where Crown Feed is at, the curve, which is a horrible, so many accidents on that curve. That's where the roundabout's gonna go. Yes, sir. Fire station. So we're still in the middle of, we hired through the fire department, we hired a firm that specializes, we need to do what is the proper location for a second fire station. We have some ideas, but to do it right and get it right the first time, so they look at working with the fire department, all the data, like all the calls that for the past X number of years, what's the anticipated future growth. And remember, our fire department and our ambulance cover more than just the city. They do all of Center Township as well. So that we're looking at that whole geographic area. And once that assessment is done, and then we work to the next step, which would be trying to build a substation. What size do we need, all the specifics, but the first step is where do we even need it? What for not only present day, but these legacy projects you do it for, what about 20 years from now? Because we don't want to build a fire station. It was good then, but not so much now. So that assessment is still being in the works. So, but that's always the first step, so we do it right. Very good question. I should have brought that up. Okay. Yes, sir.
More equipment for the leaves, for the branches, or is that? 'Cause it seems in the 10 years I've been here, it seems to take longer and longer each year.
And there's a lot of miles of road. So actually what we just charged our department heads is to do a short-term, long-term capital equipment plan and get it turned into the mayor's office. And I always separate it by needs and wants. So needs come first. I want to know your wants, but then we prioritize. So that's probably, as Terry scores back there smiling, that might be part of the equipment is on there. That would be a need. That would be a need. Yeah?
In my neighborhood, that's at a giant hole that was supposed to be cut 2.5 years ago for the first time, and then August, they promised it again.
Now, before you leave, do not leave without giving me or Terry your address. Okay? Okay, as long as he has it. But I'd still like to know, maybe you can tell me where you live. Perfect, all right. Okay. Great questions. Super proud of you people, very good, nice question. All right, so, trivia question. You may be asking, what's the trivia for? What's at stake? It's a $25 gift card for the Ramen District restaurant in the basement of the courthouse. Seems reasonable that you get something from the courthouse. First of all, no, we're doing trivia. We're okay on time. I had a series of questions. One was about fire hydrants. Can you park in front of the fire hydrant, or what's the city law on that? Norm, I think it's you can't park 15 feet from a fire hydrant. Is that correct? Okay, so we don't go around and painting. We have yellow curbs, but we don't paint every curb at every fire department yellow. But yes, you cannot park in front of the fire hydrant. It has to be at least 15 feet away. This is also a good one. We have our street sweeper out usually early in the morning, and if cars are parked on the street, of course, they have to go around the parked car. So the question was, can we basically ask people and residents to be mindful of that? We don't have a routine schedule, I don't think, of street sweepers. Some areas we need to get the street sweeper out, like unscheduled. So yeah, we can't get all the parked cars moved. We just do our best to go around them and then come back. That's a good question. And, please talk about the Venture One 65. So this is something that the council is considering. It's a new business development. So they have to come back the next council meeting for final approval. It's one of those, they tried a few years ago and it didn't work out. The property right along 65 between 101st Avenue and 109th Avenue, that's all open. So that we know it's not going to be residential because we don't want homes that close to the expressway. So it's going to be a business park. So there's a proposed development, but it has to get city council approval, and that'll be at the next city council meeting. So, yes, ma'am. They cleared it? Yeah, there's no plan development right there, just whoever owns that property did the clearing, which, yeah, but there's no plan development going on right now. That's a good question. Yes?
How many dogs can you have in your house in Crown Point?
That is a great question, and you know what? I don't know. I don't know the answer. Norm? Okay, so the question was, how many dogs can a resident have in their house? I don't know, now I'm curious, so.
Because where we live, somebody has.
5? I will find that out from our ordinance officer, and I got your number. I'll call you with it. I honestly don't know. It's a great question.
Well, no, Debbie is the one.
Oh, all right. And then I'll share it with the group. Josh? Oh, 2. Great job, Josh. Josh Watson, thank you for coming through.
2 dogs.
All right, Mary's like, all right, wrap it up. Okay, so if anybody has any questions, obviously I stick around, ask me any questions afterwards. So we are in, obviously, the Lake County, the Historic Courthouse. Down set of stairs is the Mackey Ballroom, right? Anybody been in there? Beautiful space, holds about 200 people. Back in the day when this was actually used as a courthouse, it used to be the treasurer's and the auditor's offices in there. But now it's been an event space that you can rent out or different gatherings. So the trivia question is, and you have to be specific, why is it called the Mackey Ballroom? How did it get its name? It's been called. Yes, sir. Holy smokes! You are correct. Gunnar Mackey. Anybody heard that name before? Gunnar Mackey? So Gunnar Mackey was a gentleman, he immigrated from Finland back in the 1950s to Crown Point. And God bless him, his passion was carpentry and so forth. So for the next 20 years, he dedicated that many years of his life to helping restore this beautiful building. So in doing so, they named the ballroom after him, the Mackey Ballroom, Gunnar Mackey. That is a great, I'm very impressed. I thought I had you people stumped, but. Yes, ma'am. It's the first Monday of the month at 6 o'clock in Crown Point City Hall, which is, yeah, upstairs. Yeah, so we'll post it, or Murray will, the actual agenda on the city website. So if you want to navigate and click on the link, it'll tell you exactly what is on that agenda. You're welcome. Okay, so that was a trivia question. Great job, so don't go anywhere. Our next location will be at Yuki Country Club, April 20th at 11 a.m. And Paul Wise-Nora, who runs all our athletics, will be the guest spotlight department. So thank you very much for coming. I always love doing this, love seeing you. So we'll see you next month. Thank you.